now we're going to talk about once the people get kind of through their divorce, whether it be through collaborative or mediation or litigation, we get the services of Radia Hunter, who can help people not only going through the process, but after the process is done, what to do with the funds that they get and how is it going to work. So Radia Hunter is a CFP and a CDFA. She's a certified financial planner. She's with Pacific Coast Financial Planning Group.
Tongue twister.
Pacific Coast Financial Planning Group. And her website is pcfpgroup.com. There we go. And you can also find it at ameripriseadvisors.com /Radia Hunter. So tell us about what you do, a CDFA does, to help people that are going through a divorce.
Yep. So when I'm involved with parties going through a divorce, we typically actually like to begin working with them before the divorce is completed. That way we can make sure that all aspects of their financial lives are in line with one another prior to them making an agreement. We can help determine what their after-tax cash flow would be like, help them determine whether or not it's a smart decision for them to fight to remain in the marital home. It's typically a big adjustment for both of the parties, so we also make sure that they're still on plan for retirement and any other financial goals that they may have.
Yes. The great scenario would be if both parties could continue to live the same exact way that they lived when they were married, which happens in probably 0.05% of the cases. I have had a few that
excess cash needed for that.
Yeah, there's excess cash, and somebody's at the point in their career where their career trajectory is really high, and so their earnings are multiplying as we speak, and so they can both live the same way that they did. But normally, the situation is we're going to have to both live on what we lived on as one household, and so the big decision a lot of times for the non-working spouses, can I afford to stay in the house? And so, and that's where I know, Brian, you help a lot with clients in mediation, collaborative, even litigation. Kind of, you help them meet with them and figure out what the value of the house is, so they can make the decision, and then you plug it into your financial formulas. So the other thing that because I'm a forensic accountant dealing with people going through divorces, and the big question that the supported spouse has is, will I be able to survive? I mean, that's the big question. And so what can you do to help them feel good about what's going on?
So as a certified financial planner and a certified divorce financial analyst, our main role is to ensure that the clients understand what's in the disclosures, and then also understand the financial impact of the different proposals that are being offered. So we help them create the cash flow statement and net worth projections so they can see exactly, given all the different variables, what their financial future is going to look like. And then in the case where they are no longer funded for retirement, we can help put together a plan to help them achieve their goals and ensure that they don't outlive their assets.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. We're talking with Radia Hunter. She's a CFP and a CDFA with Pacific Coast Financial Planning Group. Their website is pcfpgroup.com. So you work with a team of people. In fact, we're working as a team, the three of us, on a divorce right now. You work with a team of people. Tell us about who you might have on your team to help people that go through a divorce.
So we typically collaborate with all of the clients' centers of influence, we call them. So the mediator, the attorney, the estate planning attorney, the CPA, as well as the insurance specialist, to ensure that all of these aspects are considered pre- and post-divorce.
Well, and we hear from a lot of guests that come on our show, and certainly I see it in practice, is the desire to go one place to have everything kind of handled for you, instead of being the person that has to go, well, my insurance is with this person and then I have to be the one to make sure that they all, that there's no gaps and that.
So we try to facilitate that for them. We work with all the different experts because we can't be an expert in all the different fields. So by working as a collaboration with all the different experts in the different fields, we can work together to ensure that the client's needs are met and best interests are taken into consideration.
So you give them some pretty cool reports, right? That
Yes.
that show.
Yes.
I like them,
I bet you
and
do.
I'm an accountant.
I bet you do.
I like that it just shows. Well, this is what you have coming in, and this is after taxes, and this is what you spend, and then this is what you save. And
It takes all their assets into consideration, liabilities, all the different sources of income, so alimony, child support, future Social Security, interest, dividends, all of that, and then we can project it out into the future, literally until the age 100, given a lot of different assumptions as well, such as inflation. So we can show them exactly what their situation will look like till age 100.
And when you do that, and there's not enough, what happens?
Then we can work with them to come up with a different plan. So whether we're delaying retirement or trying to decrease expenses or, invest their portfolio in a different manner to generate more income. So there's different options that we can look into at that point.
Well, and then there's also a sad realization sometimes too. Is
Yes.
that you do this and say, well, there's not going to be enough,
Yeah, that's
so
a
we're
tough
going to
one.
have to scale back, right?
Yep. Yes.
And so I think that's good, at least the cases I've been involved in, where you actually have something solid. You could show them why they need to scale back, not just.
That's a rough conversation to have.
Not my favorite.
No, I wouldn't think that is your favorite.
No, but it's.
And the projections that Radia does are hugely important because in mediation or collaborative, if you're deciding which asset to maybe take as retirement and take the house instead of retirement, the projections can actually help that client see where they may be depending on what scenario they agree to, and that makes a world of difference to have that knowledge.
Yes. We're talking with Radia Hunter. She's a certified financial planner and a CDFA with Pacific Coast Financial Planning Group. Her website is pcfpgroup.com. pcfpgroup.com. You also can find her at ameripriseadvisors.com/Radia Hunter. So once the parties reach an agreement, there's a lot of loose ends a lot of times to kind of clean up before they can move on and become independent. What are some of the things you can do once kind of the divorce is done?
So we typically help them ensure that all of their properties are properly titled, make sure that they update all their beneficiaries on life insurance policies, all their accounts. We also work with the estate planning attorney to have them create a new trust and fund a new trust, and also work with them to do their investments, wealth management, and retirement planning.
That's great.
Yes, so it's kind of it's an ongoing relationship that we form with these
Makes
clients.
sense.
I've seen, as I'm sure Meredith has too, in practice, a number of cases where the case gets done and either they don't update their trust, there's retirement accounts that are supposed to go through what we call a quadro, they never do the quadro. They set up a trust and they're supposed to list their assets, maybe separate and community. That never gets done. There's so many cases that come back and they backfire years later because something wasn't done in the end.
Or they create the trust and they forget to actually put the house in the name of the trust.
That's pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Pretty common. So it's nice to have a professional that
To
actually
help them make sure all the loose ends are tied.
gets a little checklist to make sure
Yes.
that all gets done. So we asked Meredith for a success story. So Radia, tell us about a success story that you had, parties going through a divorce, and how you were able to help them.
So one that comes to mind is the most recent one. The couples were married for 20 years. He worked for a large company and he was an executive for a large company and had stock options and restricted stock units, and they were getting a divorce due to an affair. So unfortunately, she was letting her emotions drive her decisions in regards to the asset separation. And when we were able to show her what the future financial impact would be of the decisions that she was making today, it allowed her to kind of step back and put her emotions aside and kind of, in a way, considered it more of a business transaction, so that she could make a decision in regards to what was best for her and her children in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So helping her through that, we were able to get her some additional assets that she wasn't considering in the beginning, a substantial amount actually, and also get her to be the owner of a life insurance policy to secure the alimony and child support payments. In addition, we worked with her and her estate planning attorney to create a new trust and ensure that her children would be taken care of in the case that something were to happen to her. And lastly, we put together an investment plan for her diversified portfolio and a distribution strategy that we worked with her CPA on to ensure that it was most tax efficient as possible, and also make sure that it'll cover all her needs.
Great.
Wow,
I think.
that was a mouthful.
That's a lot.
We've been talking with Radia Hunter. She is a certified financial planner and certified divorce financial analyst with Pacific Coast Financial Planning Group, PCFP Group.com.